let this kind of load here. Good morning and happy Sunday.
Hello.
Hi. Shelly, Inshewat here. And wanted to, have you tell people how you and I know each other.
Well, hello, and thanks for having me on. I've known Selene now going on 2 years,
Yes.
I think. Because it was by like the universe intervening. Because before seeing her, like I've always struggled with anxiety. And I was looking up because my therapist had mentioned like maybe you should do some like neurofeedback work, and I had never heard of it before. So I started researching it out on Google, and then all of a sudden, because Facebook can be intuitive, like this place on Soleil kept on popping up, and I was like, what is this? And I would like ignore it because I had like knew nothing. And then finally, when I started doing some research and looking it up and read the Yelp reviews, I'm like, oh wow, this sounds interesting. So I signed up for a free consultation with Selene. And then she told me that they accepted insurance too. And I'm like, okay, well, why not? Like, try it. And work. And I like 70% better. So she had me hooked. And I've been coming to her center like once, like at that time, like twice a week for neurofeedback and then lens and trying different modalities because I also have a low thyroid. And like I'm very into natural healing work and doing everything naturally because my body is so sensitive. And she's just helped me tremendously. And then when I started getting to know her and talking to her tell us like how did this center come about, like your background is so fascinating to me.
Thank you.
And I think people should know more about it.
Thank you. I agree. I think well, from the moment I was a kid, I was very into energy. Just for whatever reason, I grew up in Kansas on a farm, and I just observed nature. And you can really educate yourself by watching nature. There are cycles of things, the seasons, the moon, variety of things that happen in nature. Not everything flows at once. There's circadian rhythms. Everything is energy. And I realized that from a really young age that everything is energy. Whether it's a tractor, dirt, or we are also energy. And when I was about 10 years old, and my aunt Marilyn my cousin was very sick of a thyroid disease, actually, and she took it upon her own hands to try to get him better because nothing was available in the medical community. So she started to study and learn about herbs and became proficient enough to give her own son these remedies, and he got better. Lo and behold, not too long after that, my grandmother was dying of leukemia at 74, and everyone was saying their goodbyes. She gave my grandmother herbs, and she recovered fully from her leukemia and lived to 93 years old. So
wow.
From a young age, I saw the power
of like natural medicine.
Yes, exactly. And our brain and body are miraculous. There's just infinite possibilities, and we're constantly at this very moment, as you and I are talking to each other, we're regenerating ourselves right now. And by even just being in this exciting room, and being in your presence, good energy, like our healthy way, and they wouldn't be as healthy, strong.
Right.
So everything is energy. And I learned a lot of different modalities when I was really young. I actually learned how to meditate before I was meditating before I even learned what meditation was. I was just really drawn to understanding energy, and I used the power of the mind to create my reality. You know, they say what you perceive is your reality, you know, and there's so much truth to that. And I remember times when I was really, really young, my father wouldn't be able to farm, and that was our livelihood. And farming's hard enough without a tractor being broke down. But I would go into the fields with my dad, and after months, energy to turn the tractor back. I did that through life, whether it was, you know, wanting to, you know, be the head cheerleader or master a test or even work at a certain place or move to New York. And I would literally look at a building and I would say, I want to work, and I manifested it. So when you're working with energy, everything's possible. And I just try to tell people what's interesting is I look at things like, because I grew up in Kansas, again, the weather's typically bad except for summer. And it wasn't until I got on my first airplane I realized it's always sunny above the clouds.
Right.
And that is so interesting when we use this analogy to measure energy. Think of energy that everything below the clouds is, let's say, negative energy. That's and everything can be measured. All energy can be measured. Hate vibrates at 40, shame vibrates at 30, you know, jealousy vibrates at 60 decibels. These are lower energies, these are lower vibrations that are all below the cloud level. Above cloud level, where the sun always is shining, mm-hmm. and where everything's possible, where miracles happen, where you can easily manifest things. When you're above cloud level and you're feeling the energetic vibration of love, which vibrates at 500 decibels, and then you even go further and vibrate up to gratitude, 750 decibels, there's no way above the cloud level that disease and illness can attach itself to something that's vibrating so fast. It doesn't exist. I've never gotten sick in my life. Knock on wood, never have.
So
because of that principle.
So because of the pandemic, and a lot of people have been struggling this year, because some people have lost a lot.
Yeah.
How do you stay within that energy?
Mm-hmm. It's not easy, because it's easy to get sucked in and pulled into, hey, I need to protect myself, I need to protect my family, I need to somehow survive. Mm-hmm. And those are very scary kind of feelings. But if we can calm ourselves down in that as much as possible and say, you know what, I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to worry about the past. I'm not going to worry too much about the future. I'm going to be present right now. What can I do? What do I need to do? I'm going to stay positive, and I'm going to not be pulled into things that lower my vibration, like fear. I'm going to get the facts and then leave it alone. I'm not going to take a spiral into conversations that's going to make me worried, depressed, panicked, afraid. Those are, again, lower energies, and we are actually weakening our immune system when we tap into that sort of energy. So there is a balance. I mean, I had to, you know, we all had to stay home for a while. I had to close my doors to my business, and I said within 10 minutes of that, I said, how am I going to be able to help people remotely without even seeing them? Mm-hmm. And you see where my mind went was to a positive. You know, how can I create something positive out of this negative situation that people are experiencing? So,
what are some simple steps that people can take to start changing into a positive mindset now?
So we can't always track every thought we have, because every thought we have is energy. Every thought, whether it's and sometimes we don't even realize what we're thinking, right? We could be driving to work and thinking, oh, I'm worthless, I'm not good enough, or I'm going to be fired, and we don't even realize what we're thinking. But what we can do is take more time to become aware of how we feel. not good in the lower energy. So what I always suggest to people is watch everything you do, be more aware of what you do. If you go into a store and you notice you're feeling sleepy or you're feeling all of a sudden depressed, that lowered your vibration.
Right.
If you meet someone, talking to them, and they're all of a sudden exciting you, making you happy and laugh and put a smile on your face, that's elevating your energy. And anything we eat, where we sleep, the clothes that we put on, everything that makes us feel good, be more aware and do more of that.
Okay.
Things that make us feel bad, then eliminate and reduce those types of things. Like, for example, the news, the newspaper, TV.
That should be very
yes,
right?
yes. Yeah. Get what you need to know. You know, I haven't listened to the news or read a newspaper in 30 years, and no one has ever called me stupid or unknowledgeable. Anything newsworthy is you'll hear about, I promise.
Right.
But it is really important because during times like the pandemic, the number one issue were people with compromised immune systems. So if we are in a situation where it's imperative that our immune systems are strong, it's also imperative thinking mindset that is focused on awareness and feeling good and making the best of the situation, because there always is that silver lining, as they say.
So what also was fascinating to me is how you helped your mom. So can you explain like the story on that and how you helped her when she was struggling?
So with the cancer, are you related to? So my mom was always a very positive influence to me. She had cancer at the young age of 40 and was detected there, and she never complained. Even though when she was in pain, she would not. She understood the power of, you know, thoughts and words and all of that.
Right.
And so she really did a lot in teaching me how to be. And she also was open to things because she suffered a lot. So she was looking into things like how he could help her, or how all of those amazing things could help. She was after breast cancer, she had then gotten bone cancer, and again, she intuitively felt, no, I can't wait 7 years to get another checkup. And what's interesting is, you know, what we at our facility, we can detect things at such an earlier state than most Western medicine technology can, and sometimes it can be too late. And so her intuitiveness, you know, instead of waiting 7 years, she waited 5 years, and then they said she had bone cancer. So then she lived with bone cancer, and every single time, even with the breast cancer, the doctors were like, you shouldn't even be alive. And then when she had bone cancer, no, you shouldn't even, there's no way you should be even standing in front of me. And she kept defying and defying, you know, medical science. And then she also lived with that for quite some time. And then when she was in her mid-50s, then she came down with brain cancer. And she had no chance of like regrowing hair back and all this stuff. But she did. She regrew all of her hair back. And then it wasn't until she had brain cancer a second time, then the doctors kind of was like, well, there's nothing more we could do. And she also didn't have another card to turn, so to speak, you know, and she just kind of said, okay, I accept, you know, so to speak. And then, you know, when we don't have a way of progressing, we regress, you know, and
Right.
that goes true for anything and everything, in everything we do personally. But so, you know, my mom taught me a lot when she went through that, and we lost my mom, and she also, I was able to connect with her again, and, you know, spiritually as well, and it was very, very cool. So that's, she really led me on a path of how to be and how to be positive when suffering, and the process of healing, and the power of our mind and our body to defy what.
Because she defied what the doctors had originally told her for like many years.
Yeah, nearly 20 years.
And how did she take care of herself in that process?
She would use herbs, she would use oils. I did teach her to meditate. I also actually, when I was young, I mean, I grabbed onto anything and everything energy related, and even I was taught advanced feng shui, and I even feng shuied their house and made sure that she was in a very positive environment, because our environment affects us. She just did everything she could, including Mayo Clinic. I mean, she just tried everything under the sun and didn't give up. And I think that's very important, is to keep a positive attitude and don't give up, because it doesn't matter how many failures we had in the past. Oh my God, failures am I going to have, coming up? You can't focus on that either. True living is being in the moment. And that's what we get taught in meditation, is being in the now. Right now is all we have. It's all that matters, and it's all that ever matters. And too many of us are constantly living in the past, or we're living too much in the future.
Right. Like for me, my problem is a combination of both. Like trying not to live in the past, but I'm such a worry wart. I'm always worrying about the future.
Yeah.
So just to be mindful and being more present in the moment is so freeing sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Our days, someone who has stage 4 cancer could outlive me. We don't know when we're going to take our last breath.
Right.
And I really love remembering that, we don't get out of this gig alive, and we really have to take the blessing of the gift, the blessing of having today, and what are we going to do with it?
Right.
Make it the best. Do what you need to do, but every thought, every word, every action matters, and make the best of every day. Make it count.
So the experiences with your mom and your grandma, how did that lead you to Onsele?
Yeah, so then I knew that I was so into energy and healing that I began to glom onto everything I could, whether it was Reiki, acupuncture, acupressure, massage, meditation, energy healing, quantum healing, learned about quantum physics, and learned about like how so many of this existed so long ago, even with American Indians, or even in societies where they use lots of these modalities that we're using today. They used sound. For example, the pyramids. The pyramids create these amazing sound vortexes, and they create these channels of healing for people. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that even in Egypt, they used sound healing, energetic vibration. They understood the universe and how it worked, and the stars and the alignment and the planets, and how to access energy vortexes. Mm-hmm. And we are energy, and we all have our vortexes within our own bodies. That's, the 7 chakras. Yeah. And it was through all of learning these different modalities that I continually would learn another one and another one. It was this constant learning. And as I would learn something, I would find something that would be faster, more effective. It was my friend Marielle Hemingway. She was a friend of mine when I came to California, and she said, "Selene, I know you do all this amazing healing, but and I did enough to go discover what that is." And essentially, it was, because of her that led me into that path. And she said, if you can go get licensed and certified and learn about this, I'm hoping that it can help me and my family and my friends. And of course, she comes from a long lineage of just brilliant people, but also people who suffer from addiction, abuse, and suicide. So I did that, and she was one of my first clients. And you do your first 100 or so friends and family. Yeah. They're your guinea pigs in the beginning, and it was truly miraculous. I know for myself, some of us, have a childhood. Some of us have traumas later in life, but we all have a journey to fulfill, and purposes and lessons to learn in life.
And that has to do with our disease, our healing processes.
Yes.
You know, it has a lot to do with it, and
100%.
people don't realize that.
Absolutely. And I believe everything shows up for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and I also believe everything happens for the better. And I know that's crazy, but a lot of times when people do have a dis-ease or an illness, and they can come to the realization that when they have gotten through that suffering and they're out on the other end now, whether it was 2 years of suffering or whatever it was, 20 years of suffering, they're so grateful for it because of all the lessons they learned, the challenges they have overcome, the things that they tapped into that they wouldn't have other known, and they can pass it forward and pay it forward. And we see miracles, and we are completely miraculous. Our bodies and brain have the ability to heal anything. I have seen it all.
Well, can you explain with brain optimization, like how that works and how that helps with like anxiety and all that kind of cool stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know, like, and you think of, oh my gosh, messing with my brain, that's pretty scary. But everything we do is all natural, non-invasive, and without medications. So with the brain optimization, what essentially the technology, there's lots of different technologies out there. There's even things that you can tap into on YouTube and listen to, and it will help bring some of your brain into the right balance, like sleep frequencies that'll help your brain sleep. But what is unique is we have technologies that it's your own brain that drives your own brain. So just like when we have a cut on our hand, our eyes communicate, hey brain, there's a cut on our hand. The brain goes to heal it. We don't have to worry about how that's done. It just happens. Well, we have the technology now to mirror the brain back to itself. So we put sensors on the scalp to read the brain frequencies into the computer, simply like listening to your heartbeat with a stethoscope. We're just listening to the brain frequencies. And then we're allowing the software, the technology, to send back the brain immediately recognizes, hey, that frequency is not correct, and it's stuck there. So a lot of times stress and trauma will cause us to be in stuck states, either freeze mode or fight or flight. And by mirroring the brain back to itself, the brain sees, oh my gosh, I am safe. I'm no longer in this trauma. I'm safe. I can get out of this stuck stage. So the brain is meant to be flexible, just like blood pressure, rise and fall. We get, have an argument or this or that, but it's flexible. It doesn't stay stuck too high or too low.
Yeah.
And by mirroring the brain back to itself, brings the brain into balance. And when the brain is into balance, the symptoms drop away. They literally drop away. Keep in mind, our bodies communicate to us. So when we do have a symptom,
your body tells you.
Yeah, it's telling you. It's talking to you. If you're like, oh my gosh, I keep having this pain right here, or, things are showing up. These are messages that something's not right.
Well, like, it's not normal to have panic attacks, anxiety attacks, like all the time.
Yeah.
It's happening for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's usually from unhealed trauma or like major stress in your life.
Exactly.
So essentially with the brain optimization, it mirrors back and it recognizes like the weak spots and corrects or heals it.
Yep.
Right.
Recognizes where your brain might not be communicating effectively to one another. Your brain is the master control center for everything. So your brain controls how you sleep, how you digest, your metabolism. It controls how you detox and how your kidneys work, how we breathe, your blinking, swallowing, everything that we may not even be recognizing, your brain is in control over. So by getting the brain optimized, then the brain can optimize the body. And that's what's so profound too is, yes, anything mental issues, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and all these like labels. See, the brain doesn't know labels.
Right.
But when we can bring the brain into balance, and oftentimes before I even took insurance and needed to even know about people's issues, I would tell people, come in, and you don't have to, if you want to share with me,
just
great.
Try it.
But I will see everything I need to know in your brain. And I could look at someone's brain and I would know whether they had an addiction issue or if they did not sleep well or if they yelled and screamed in traffic. I mean, I saw it all. And I didn't worry about it. I just knew that once I got the brain back into balance and get all of the points in the brain and the communication back to where it needs to be, and those new neural pathways established, the symptoms would drop away, and they would. Things like, and again, labels would be unlabeled by doctors. People would call me and say, well, I don't have lupus anymore. I don't have Crohn's anymore. I don't have an addiction anymore. And I came in for anxiety or whatever. People come in for
right, then they get corrected for like other things.
Exactly.
That's
because the
crazy.
brain doesn't discriminate. It will
Right.
work on everything, and there's a lot that we don't know, which is incredible. Now the brain, what I learned too, and how we, extended from this incredible modality of brain optimization, which is really, really powerful, and that's all we really had people. Matter of if, it's a matter of when. And now, understanding there were a couple instances where, and what led me into some other of the modalities that we now offer at Onsele is, one time I had a person fall from a lift at Home Depot and hit his head, and his head was like as big as a basketball or a lampshade. I just remember it was just so scary, and I didn't want to work on his brain until we had the inflammation down. So I quickly had to research some of the best FDA approved infrared lights, so that we could get his back, and his head literally within hours was coming back into proportion, wherein I could actually fit the headbands and fit the things on his head. And I realized how important it is for light therapy with the brain technology, allows for anyone who has concussion or inflammation or plaque in the brain, for blood to flow in the brain. And then when we do the brain optimization, then it happens a lot quicker. And then another modality that was extended from learning about clients is the gut. Our gut is our second brain. When we have the intuition, we often refer to, I have a gut feeling, I have an intuition. They're tied to each other. They're connected in so many ways. And when we have things like a leaky gut, as we get older, a lot of times we're eating foods that we shouldn't, like popcorn or raw nuts and vegetables that are harder to digest, and sometimes the cerebral valve can be open, which creates a leaky gut, and then that creates toxins in the bloodstream, which is entering in our brain. So learning about nutrition is so key. It's so important to make sure we're eating healthy and right for our brain to work properly. And then the last bit was when I had a small boy come into the office, and his parents said, well, his teacher says he has ADHD. We don't want to put him on medications, and I'm very against medications. Of course, there's a purpose at times and a need, but I always say
you want to try the natural way first.
And you would think we're so conditioned to try surgeries and medications first, when in reality we should exhaust everything natural first before we then say, okay, nothing else has worked and I do need medication or I do need a surgery. That should be our last option. But in this case, what was interesting is I hooked him up again. I was like, okay, no, the frontal lobes were in balance, and I'm like, it's there. I see the brain. Pretty of healers all over the world, and thank goodness for social media and things like that to enable us to connect and talk. And I reached out because I just needed to have answers for this poor boy. His behavior was completely erratic. He would wake up at 4 and raid the cereals, and his behavior was just not where it should be. He had no friends at school. It was just, he was coming out of his skin, literally. And I really, as a mom myself, I really felt for getting to the bottom and getting answers. And lo and behold, and he said, you need this one technology that has been used with NASA as well as used in space to help treat and diagnose astronauts. And I said, oh my gosh, well, I need a demo. And he's like, well, send me your photo from your driver's license. And I sent it, and within maybe 3 minutes, he named like 3 different things that was going on with my body. And I'm like, there's no
Whoa.
way you can know this, And I said, how fast can I get the system? And within the week I had the system. I was learning it all night, and I did this bioscan. It reads energy.
Yeah.
And it reads the energy of a person, and it has a database, a global database of all pathogens, all toxins, parasites, viruses, bacteria, fungus, allergies, you name it, it's there stored here. And so
I had it done, and it's pretty cool. Like, it shows you your body and where like you need improvements, where the parasites are.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I know, it is crazy. Yes, and in the case of this young boy, his brain was infested with parasites.
Wow.
And they were just feeding off of the candida and the fungus and the sugar that he had. And that's why he was just driven to eat more of it, was because they were just multiplying. And it was very intense and very scary, because the only prior time I've ever heard of parasites in the brain was about 7 years prior, where this family traveled all over the world, and they literally took their child to Australia to have brain surgery, and they wanted the kid to have brain optimization after his surgery. And I'm like, wow. Oh my gosh.
Do it before,
yeah,
right?
Don't have surgery. Well, of course, unfortunately, they didn't know about this technology and what is available. And that's what I always say, is there's so much available to us, and it's just a matter of looking. I know if we can spend the time to talk to friends and neighbors and ask and share and put it out there in the universe that I need answers. I need to find something that can help me. I really do believe that will come to them. And just like, the universe directed you into the direction you were supposed to for your healing,
Right. And it's amazing how that works.
Yeah.
So some people may not know that you have a nonprofit as well attached to your business.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about that and how you help people. I know, like as you know, I think I told you, like, my mom passed away from a major stroke, but she also helps like military vets, stroke victims. Tell us more and how you help people through your nonprofit.
Absolutely. Well, so one of the things that I wanted to do was help more people. I was just a sole provider. It was just me. I would fly around the world, and people would fly around the world to come to Calabasas and get treatments. And I constantly heard, oh my gosh, this is amazing. After 20 years, I have my life back. Or, oh my gosh, after 10 years of suffering. Or, how could this be after 5 years and just in 1 week? And it was wonderful. And then the second thing they would say is, well, how come I didn't know about this? How come this isn't available everywhere? How come I had to suffer for 30 years before I could find something like you or this that would work? And I said, it's because this is, technology and modalities that are natural. It had to be underground for quite some time. Some of it still has to be underground, because there's more money in keeping people sick than getting people well. And there's so many people out there that need help. And so I thought, okay, how can I help more people? That's where it all stemmed from. I'm like, well, how can I bring more awareness?
Right.
And so one thing is I wanted to try to figure out how I could offer insurance to people so they could come in and they could afford it. Mm. And then I thought, well, there's those people that don't have insurance and they can't afford it. So
and they need help.
They need help. And they want, the medicine isn't for them, or they tried and it's failed them, or they've had worse consequences and side effects. So I decided to create a nonprofit. Mm-hmm. And so that way people could see a way to heal and either dedicate, if they were wanting to donate, they could donate, let's say, to a specific person.
Like you can sponsor someone.
You can sponsor someone. And so, for example, a person could send money to sponsor someone that they know and get the healing, and 100% of that goes to their healing. Because we have our business where we do bring money in from paying clients and insurance, and then we have the side of our business where we use the donation and profit money 100%, which is traceable, trackable. We've put people in touch before where wanted to donate, we would have someone and they're like, oh, well, we had a girl from sex trafficking, and it was unbelievable, her story, but she was saved from sex trafficking, and one of a good dear friend of mine said, I want to donate $2,000 to this girl, and she was towards her healing, and the girl was in touch with her from day one throughout her journey, and even at the end, and she is on our website and on a lot of testimonials, but she of course thanks the woman. But I get to experience everyday miracles, and I'm so in love with what I do. I have never worked a day in my life because what I do isn't work to me. It's
Right.
I just love it, and I want to give people out there that same opportunity to help someone. I say that you can donate to the Amazon rainforest, but you can't walk in the rainforest. And
Yeah.
because of me, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's dollars, and I can say, okay, that went towards some supplements, some natural supplements to help, this veteran here. So people can say very specifically or generally where they want their money to go. We absolutely give 100% of that to the people.
And if people want to donate, that's on your website.
Too. Absolutely. Yes, it is. And it's awareness, so the mission is to try to increase and improve awareness and help more people. So how can we help more people? We all know someone in need. We all know someone in pain. We all do. And even with COVID, and I worked a lot with other providers, and we worked remotely. We worked energetically with people who were in hospitals, who were in emergency rooms, who were home with 100 and, 7 degree of temperatures, and who are literally on their life, and we had successful outcomes. It was crazy, but there's a lot of people now. Even we're busier than we have ever been before, and we're trying to grow. And this is actually, I'm going through, it's tough because we haven't received we're waiting for PPP money and grant money or a way to help. That we applied for the EDL loans, and I'm like, okay, all these people have gotten it and we haven't, but we've got to hang in there, and we will hang in there. We will absolutely figure out a way to continue to help people. And now is the time more important than ever, because there's a lot of, especially children, have been so impacted by having to stay home for such a long time, not being able to be around their peers, being stressed, and just feeling the lack of connection, and that we all need, and even adults, anxiety, the fear, the depression. I know so many people now that are committed suicide, and suicide is on the rise. There's help out there, and like I said, within the first 10 minutes I figured out how we can do everything we do remotely. We now mail brain headsets to people. They receive them in the mail, and we specifically are able to.
And people can rent these, right?
Yes, exactly. And you literally put on the headset. My cell phone or our computer gets alerted. I've programmed everything that I need to know. It does a little assessment saying move around the sensors. I can adjust everything, and I watch the brain in real time. And within days and weeks, we see profound changes. People getting off medicine. We had so many different people from around the country already calling us and starting the process, and it's as easy as that. It's really incredible.
It's great. And lastly, can you tell people like what's coming up for Onsele? Because I know you have like some exciting things to talk about, and any like new modalities. Because I think I saw you guys testing out like a brain mapping thing too.
Yeah. So we basically focus on healing with sound, light, frequency, and we work with energy. Everything we do is energy based, and everything that Einstein talks about, in quantum physics, quantum healing. We have these, healing remotely is amazing, but we also have the ability to receive people's fingernails, their DNA, through the mail, and we can literally do a bioresonance scan on them, and not only letting them see and measure, helping us measure and catch things at early stages. For example, it takes about 8 years for cancer residing in the body before it's detectable in typical traditional Western medicine. And we can catch things so early. Our systems are very sensitive and they're very advanced and cutting edge. And we can do a lot of things that just kind of blow your mind, but they work. We have had people from Colorado, or a lady from Colorado. She couldn't bend or sit, and within 5 days of us doing remote metatherapies through her DNA, she still is, she's better. And this has been 3 months, ongoing. So there's a lot we can do that, and we send out our equipment, and it's also beneficial if someone's utilizing it. It's also good for the whole family. So whether we're renting out infrared lights for someone to reduce pain and inflammation, or maybe we're renting out frequency healing machines that can, with frequency, can change frequency, whether it doesn't harm the body, but it can kill the pathogens, or whether it's the brain technology. There's a lot that's out there and available, and we, appreciate anybody's support that can help us along the way, help people, because that's what we're here to do.
Mm-hmm. And then, so what's next? What's next for On Soleil? Like, what are your upcoming goals?
Well, I'm starting to travel quite a bit, and I'm trying to increase awareness by talking to people, obviously just naturally. And I just came back from South Africa, for example, and I ran into a gal who had cancer, and she was in her stage 2, 3 of cancer, and I sent and left her with a lot of the tools that I went to heal. And it was yesterday that she texted me and said she has 2 doctor opinions and no more cancer at all in her body. Wow. So she'll be sending all those things back for us to use for the next person. But miracles just truly happen, and we have so much ability to do, like you said, remote brain mapping. We've been brain mapping for years, but it's been available in our office. We have ways to detox, lots of different modalities and technologies in office, but pretty much everything we do
can be done remotely.
And also we can send equipment to people's homes so they can use it. We have a advanced lymphatic system, for example, because as we're detoxing people, we need to get those things out of the highway of our toxins of the lymphatic system, and if it's not circulating. And I think you tried it once. It's pretty amazing. It's like an amazing big massage. So we can send, everything out as needed and allow people to heal from their home. Or our doors are open here in Calabasas, California. And we have providers that are also in other places and other states in the world that, we can do things. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Right, and you can be literally anywhere, because like she said, she can take clips of your hair or your nails and check things that way with even like just a photo too. It's amazing. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
This has been amazing.
I appreciate your time and you as well. Just again, Shelly had a birthday recently, and she was able to raise beyond her goal of that, and I just want to thank you for that, because that really means a lot. Think about how you can help so much.
You help me so much, and like for me, I'm always like every year I pick a nonprofit, and this year like because my mom passed away the day after my birthday, so it's kind of like a bittersweet time for me, and I've always wanted to do like a nonprofit to help stroke victims, but I'm like, how can I help people? And I know the money will be used toward good, and she helped stroke victims. So what, and she's shown me testimonials of people who couldn't talk or walk
Who are
before,
paralyzed.
who are paralyzed,
coma.
and they're like 80% better. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm so glad I
Well, we'll
could do
definitely
that
use
for you.
that towards these stroke clients we have,
Yeah.
and it's like I said, it's all transparent. We let everyone know how their donation is helping people. So
Yeah.
thank you again.
Of course.
Appreciate
anytime.
it. All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations for
And thanks for
your
joining
own healing.
us.
Thank you for joining us. Sunday, we'll see you next Sunday. And everybody, make it a great day. It's all there for you, waiting. And have a blessed day. Thank you. Take care.